This is your weekly market update for the greater Portland, Maine area. These are closed sales in the last 7 days, median numbers. Days on market ticked up a little bit to 8 days on market, just over a week. The list to sale ratio still at 100%, still a super strong seller's market in Southern Maine. The median sold price came down again a little bit to $520,000, and the average 30-year fixed interest rate went up again to 6.83%. Your U.S. annual inflation went up from 2.4 to 2.7%. So let's talk about the U.S. economy. I got a couple of subjects I want to cover. The first is a new law that, if passed, would positively impact homeowners. So the law would say, right now, if you sell a primary residence, you get an automatic capital gain of 250 as an individual, 500 as a couple that you're not taxed on. So you can make up to $500,000 in the sale of your home if you're a couple, 200 if you're individuals. The law, if passed, would say there's no limit on the cap gain you are exempted from if it's your primary residence. This is important because in the last 5 years, we have had so much appreciation in the market, and we have a lot of those boomers that have a ton of equity in the home, but they're not really incentivized to sell, because if they do sell, they know they're going to have to pay tax because their gain is over the limit. So if this law is passed, it could really loosen up some of that inventory. The next thing I want to talk about is consumer price index. So again, we went from 2.4 to 2.7. So anything that has the inflation going up is going to make it less likely that the Fed's lower rates. The producer price index, so the cost that businesses have in buying goods, was pretty much flat month over month and year over year. And then, as we've already discussed, the job numbers were a little bit higher than expected, some mixed reviews there. But overall, these three things together continue to say that the Federal Reserve is very unlikely to lower rates in July and also September, which brings me to the last point, which is Trump and Jerome Powell are still massively going at it. So Jerome Powell is supposed to be in his appointed position until this coming spring. And he is very conservative, and he is not lowering rates unless he gets all the things he wants. Trump is angry. He feels like the rates should have already gone down. He wants to see them go down, not even a little bit, but a lot. And so the two of them are going at it. Trump is very publicly calling out Powell. And there's been some whispers in the last week that maybe Powell would resign from his position early and somebody else would be appointed to replace him that would be more favorable to lowering rates at a faster pace. If these things happen, it would have a great impact on housing, because obviously when the Fed lowers their rates, usually the mortgage rates are going to follow, and the people who are locked in because their rates right now are lower than the rates they would get if they moved might want to move. If that happens along with this cap gains exemption increase, or actually the limit being removed, both of those things could loose up some of the market that right now is just being held. The seller saying, hey, I don't want to give up my good rate, and I also don't want to pay taxes on these gains I've made staying in this house. Maybe I'll just stay here. So if both those things change, you could see more inventory come on the market in a significant kind of way. But for right now, we're still seeing rates like relatively flat, eked up a little bit over the last couple of weeks, but hovering right below 7%. If you have any questions about these things or the Maine market, I'm happy to answer them. I look forward to talking with you soon.